Hello, everybody, and welcome to this latest in the ValuesJam Deep Dive Conversations series. And today we're going to have a slightly shorter session than normal, and it's going to be about the topic of family. So, a topic that is dear to everybody's heart, I can imagine. And Nagamani and Agata, great to have you here. And I've got a question, as usual, to kick us off, and it is this. What lessons from family should organizations and communities embrace, and which should they avoid?
Mm, I'd be happy to begin because just before recording, being invited to think about the best family I can ever think of, I thought of so many diversities. I thought of an extended family of friends, my own family, of the closest version. And if you're talking about the lesson we can learn, is that wherever you have love and respect, it doesn't matter how you form the organization or a family, how you understand it and how you um, define it. Mm, just whether it's the closest ones or whether you think of your friends and all the generations. Um, I guess the center of love and respect would be the definition of very, very diverse family. Thank you.
Well, I think the ones that family can teach everybody is the connection which the people have. And more than anything, the bonding which brings them back to the center core of what the family means to everybody. And this in itself is an indication that people have to connect with each other and they have to come back to the core essence of why we are here and what we need not pick up from family is the miscommunication or misinterpretation of communication, which leads to conflicts or which leads to distress, especially for children. That is what one should not pick up from the family.
I mean, so there's a couple of points, one from each of you actually. So, Agata, you used the word love, and love, in my experience, is seldom used in organizations, and perhaps with some good reason, because I remember being in a situation where somebody said to me, "Are you not my friend?" And I said to them, "No, I'm not your friend. I'm your colleague, and I really want us to have a positive working relationship together. But that's not friendship necessarily." Um, and also, it would sometimes, maybe often, be inappropriate to be in love with somebody at work, or cause challenges around that space. So there's something interesting around love regarding organizations. And then Nagamani, when you started to talk about family, I found myself thinking those positive aspects that you covered, whether they were actually an aspiration for family or whether they were the reality of family. Because it strikes me that when we talk about um, in an organization, we want to create a sense of family, it's always viewed very positively. But then we probably all know that the reality of family life is sometimes not positive.
Yeah.
So those contradictions kind of coming through for me from what you've each said.
Okay. So I think in some families, these are a reality, the connections, the bonding, and the core essence of the family stands, what the family stands for. But in reality, I agree with you that many families struggle to find their core or get connected and have that bonding which brings them back together all the time.
Mm.
So I think I could say that this could be an aspiration which families and organizations have to look forward to and which they have to work towards.
Mm.
Because in an organization, they are all closely knit, like in a family, towards a particular goal, which is the essence of the organization. And they need to stay connected and bonded to achieve that goal. So that's what brings them together. I agree with you that colleagues cannot be friends because that professionalism will just die away when we cross that border. Probably. Probably. But I have not worked like that in my organization. I had my preschool where I had a very close knit employee circle, and there was no distinction between me and the employees.
Mm-hmm.
We were all working like a family, and I believed in employee owned company.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave them the ownership to own everything possible in the school, but they did not have the implications of taking that responsibility or taking that ownership. So, what I mean by that is, I think they should have a say in the school policy, for example, in how we take care of the children, how we interact with the parents, and what goes into a system. But they may not be liable to answer the parents or the management in certain aspects, like it could be financial, it could be administration, it could be legal. That is not a part of their ownership.
Mm.
And this is very closely connected to the family because every member of the family has to take the ownership for the family, including children. And if the if, when you take children, I think the ownership is restricted, like the employee ownership. They're not liable, but they have a say in building the family or working towards the goals of the family.
Mm.
If I can
What do you
add something to that, Nagamani,
Yeah.
it's actually a pleasure to listen. I think we have similar references from family to workplace. I also I have been working in kindergarten and at school, and reflecting on your words, Alan, that well, you need to separate, you know, family and relationships and love and organizations because that's not very professional. You have colleagues here, you have friends here, which is, I guess, very useful. But when working with kids, um, it's very difficult to create a safe space without love. Love understood as the real need for the second person to experience good things in life. So very broad perspective of love, especially creating environment around small kids. So the reference of this connection, bonding, which gives you quality of life, whether it's workplace or whether it's family, especially working with kids, should be one of the criteria in organizing spaces for healthy development. I personally use a lot word love at my workplace because I feel that it's the biggest honor that a person can have, having a spot in someone's path towards adulthood, from childhood to adulthood. So I think it's a privilege, and this is not a common use of the word love, but still this deep down craving for somebody else's goodness to happen in life would create the environment where children flourish.
And I guess it's kind of focusing the conversation because of both of your backgrounds naturally towards children. And I agree with you. I think children need to feel that they're in an environment where I'm not sure even if it is the word love. I'm thinking, what's the distinction between love and care, for instance? Love seems to be. So I'm thinking of a teacher. Do you think that a teacher could do a good job with children because they deeply care about their children without feeling that they love their children?
No.
I,
It was a straight no. Sorry, Agatha.
no, but that's that's very clear. Actually, I wanted to find some nice ways around that, but that was the point. If you accept the second person non-judgmentally, if you accept them as they are, I mean, it's not that you approve of each and every behavior, but you just take the person with all the baggage, then this is the simplest expression of love.
Yeah.
And that's how you create safe environment in education. You
Mm,
don't need to underline the word itself because it can have different connotations. But the true heart craving just to not to change the person, but to create the environment for the person to flourish. That's, in my opinion, the simplest expression of love, which is this unconditional acceptance, which is the priority in healthy education.
mm. Listening to this conversation brought something else up actually, and that is a significant difference between family and organization that struck me, and see what you think of this. Organizations choose who they have working in the organization. Families often do
No.
not. And that strikes me as being significantly different.
I guess so. But at the beginning of our conversation, I just thought of the diversity around family, because if you have the extended family, you actually do choose your close friends and the ones that you have deeper relationships and more shallow.
Mm,
So at the very beginning, you start up with a family that is somehow imposed on you, but later on, it creates somehow this organic environment of people you invite, just like actually in organizations. Some of your colleagues may be your friends. All of the kids need to be taken unconditionally, but it changes within time, like in families as well, that you choose the ones who are closer to you. For example, you can have loads of siblings. I've got 5 kids, so I know that they vary among themselves. So one have another as best friend, and the girls between themselves, they have different relationships, and the boys, it's just a matter of time. And when they grow up and become adults, it also changes. So when you invited us to think about the family, I thought of this family that you actually get to choose, but perhaps not at the very beginning, but within time.
mhm. That's right, Nagamani, right? Because I guess when children grow up, then there's more choice exercise about whether you want to spend time together or not. But I suppose I was thinking about a young family context where, as a parent, those are your children, and there was no
Yeah,
qualification criteria.
yeah. I
They are who
understood
they
that.
are.
Yes. Yeah, you don't have a choice. I mean, except the partner which you are choosing, probably in some cases, because in India, there are many occasions where they don't even choose the partner.
Yeah.
So, so there may be a choice in the partner, but not a choice in the children which we have.
Mm.
So, in such a situation, I think this unconditional love, which Agatha was talking about, is what is going to work. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And that's what is required, coming back to the previous conversation which we had. That's what is required in an organization where we are working with children. When we love the children with whom we are working, we go above and beyond to create a safe space for them to open up or for them to flourish and thrive.
Mhm. Mhm.
But when we are just caring, I think it looks more like a duty
I absolutely agree.
and
Absolutely.
not beyond that.
Mm. So
And
that it's interesting, isn't it? Because these words that we use, like love and care,
yeah.
we use them very freely,
Hmm.
but actually not so much time spent on understanding what they really mean. So, for instance, I'm thinking about caring now because of what you're saying,
Hmm.
and I'm thinking about caring used as in a caring home, right? So,
Hmm.
somebody, a nurse, basically, a carer,
Hmm.
and in that situation, I can imagine in some cases they're just doing their job. It's very task oriented. They have to do these things, and that's part of their care duties. And
Yeah.
you said it's more of a duty. Then I was thinking about when you really care about something,
Hmm.
the extra effort and attention that you put into it, which is a totally different dynamic than the first meaning of the word that we talked about.
Yeah.
So when we use the word care, we need to take care to understand what we
True.
mean.
True, true, true. I'm sorry, I did not mean that the care was only duty bound.
Hmm.
Uh, so let me just give you a bit of a context for this. I think when you care about a child, you may start giving a set of instructions which protects the child from various adversities. But when you love a child, you will also teach the child how to protect themselves. That's the distinction I was talking about.
Okay.
I would add to that, to
Yeah.
build up a little bit, that if the child is taken unconditionally, just as he or she is,
Hmm.
then something amazing happens. You
Yeah.
build up this self acceptance, this self not self awareness, but this uh, self consciousness, this um, strong foundation for the rest of his life. That he's seen, he's heard as he or she is. So this happens with love, and this is the relationship that is feeding them for the rest of their lives. And actually, if you have at least one person throughout the first 10 years of your life that takes you just as you are unconditionally, um, that gives you the foundation for all the rest. And that's how education, because we actually narrowed down the organizations towards education. I guess it's our experience based, but that's actually how organizing space, especially in early years, should look like. healthy family based on this unconditional acceptance and love, because this could be the foundation of just a healthy human being, no matter if it's just given for a year, 5 years, or 10 years. But it leaves such a strong sense of self, that I am valued, I'm important just as I am. I don't need to do something to be valued. Just it's enough that I am.
Mm. And you know that organizations, because we've discussed already, families don't have a choice generally. And then what we're saying is, in a family, you do find unconditional love, even though they don't choose those people. In an organization, you mitigate the risk because you choose the people in the first place. So, doesn't that suggest that love should be easier in an organization? Because the people that you're dealing with are already performing to a certain standard for which they've been selected. Whereas in a family, you've got the extra challenge of that not being the case. So why are people so horrible in organizations?
Well, I think we come back to the first point which we discussed, that love is not a word to be used or an emotion to experience in a workplace.
Mm-hmm.
That's the basic assumption, that we should not get bonded with each other in any other way other than colleagues. That's the misconception which people have. Point number one. And then I think there is another aspect which is very professional, that I want to prove myself right all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the organization goal which I'm looking at. I'm looking at my personal interest and my personal goals. So when that competition exists, I don't think there is any love between people.
Mm. You know,
If
you're reminding me of when I was running a hotel business,
Yeah.
and we were a very high performing business, and I had a really great team. But what you've reminded me of is that for my senior team, we had their business goals that they needed to achieve over the year. And this particular year, I asked them all to add a personal objective, nothing to do with their work, onto the list. And we reviewed that in the same spirit as their business objectives every quarter. And so, one I remember, I don't know whether you call it the same thing in your countries, but at the bottom of a wall in a house here, you have something we call a skirting board.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agata, are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
No.
So
No?
it's like a wooden board at the bottom of a wall. I don't even know the function of it, actually.
Well, I don't know. It's just aesthetic, I think. I don't know.
Anyway, the finance director said, I've been promising my wife that I'd replace these skirting boards for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
And so that's what I'm going to put on the list.
Mhm.
Anyway, the short version of the story is that every single one of the team achieved all of their business objectives, and all of them achieved their personal objective as well.
Yeah.
And so why I thought of that was because when I've been in leadership roles, I have applied like a family spirit to the workplace situation in some ways, not wholly, but there's an example that I wanted to share.
Wonderful. I think I resonate with that because when a person is having a challenging situation at home, or a goal, a personal goal which is not being achieved for various reasons, that impacts the performance at work. And if that is taken care of, I think the person psychologically feels safe and feels empowered that he or she can do work towards both personal and professional goals.
Yeah.
Which is why I think they were all able to achieve the business objectives.
Yeah, we'll never be able to prove that,
Yeah.
but
Mm,
intuitively, it feels that if you're valued as a person, not
Mhm.
just a resource in an
Yes.
mhm.
organization, then you're going to do your very best.
Yeah.
I guess right now, more than ever before, we could incline globally towards shifting this kind of rigid perception of organization as being the professional one, the one that focuses on achieving goals, towards a bit more family like, love centered, just humane version of value based environments. Because the development of artificial intelligence changes everything. We do have better empowered tools that are unbelievably more professional in most areas connected with word production and understanding. But there where we have possibilities of establishing real, authentic, imperfect relationships, that's the moment more than ever. So listening to your kind of encouragement of your team, just to include some of the personal goals and kind of building this holistic approach seems to be a good inspiration for different organizations right now.
Mm. And it's a big shift for many of them because, again, just speaking from personal experience, people, maybe not so much now, but people used to hide behind their title and their level of authority
Mm,
to get things done. And
mm,
so it was very much, I'm in charge, you have to do these things. Why haven't you done these things? I'm going to deal with it.
mm,
But that style of management really can't apply in very many places these
Mhm.
days.
Yeah.
And certainly the younger generation, all power to them because they're not as subservient as my generation was, for instance. And I think that's a brilliant development.
mm,
True. True.
Now that pause feel we did say that we were going to have like a Values Jam deep dive sprint this time, and rather than open up another avenue, which I'm sure would be very interesting, but we would have to cut it short because we said that we're going to keep it contained. So I think let's draw it to a close there. But I will ask the same question as usual, which is from this conversation that we've had, what are you encouraged to do differently with regard to family?
mm. I guess I'm going to take this idea more sort of family, but rather organization, but family based values to include personal objectives to make it more humane. I like the idea.
Thanks, Agata. What about you, Nagamani?
I think I would work towards always being proactive and listening to every member's personal goals while always trying to achieve the family goals.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mm. And mine, this conversation's given me encouragement actually to, when I'm working with leaders, to focus more on the fact that their employees are human beings and
Yeah.
people with lives and families,
Mm.
and to pay attention to that because if you can create a situation where you are contributing to the well-being of the person,
Mhm.
then you're going to benefit from their performance as an employee. And probably I don't talk to people when I'm working with them enough about the power of that approach. So thank you very much. And I've enjoyed being in this small family that we've had tonight
Thank
and
you
the
so much.
conversation about the family. So thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.